You recently released a song independently on your own called "The Party's Over."
Yes,
What
sir.
inspired that? Where did it come from?
Man, so that song, it just really, you wouldn't believe it. It came out of nowhere. As you know, I told you before in our other interview, I also record Southern Soul blues music, the music, the Southern stuff that I do. So
Yeah.
we were in there to cut a record on that tip. And then my partner, Dante Dorsey, he's one of my business partners, and he worked with me on that to put that record out. You know, he got a sample. Okay, so that track's a sample. What is it? Sidney Barnes had a group when he was younger. It was a duo, and they had a real obscure song. But anyway, what we did, we took that sample and we created something totally different. So I'm hearing the melody and everything with it, and I was like, man, I need to come up with some falsetto. You know what I'm saying? And it just so happened my father, who is a huge soul fan, me and him, he came down there with me that time. We were in Ann Arbor recording. I stayed in Flint. We were in Ann Arbor, and we just started talking and vibing, man. And it came out. So I was, every love has a season. I heard that smooth stuff on it, and it just came out organically, man. And it's it's a heck of a record. I'm really proud of it.
So your pops was with you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That
He's
so he's got to get
74
some
years
sort
old.
of credits
Yes,
on
he
this,
does.
right?
And I'm gonna tell you why. Because my father knows me, and sometimes I don't want to say get in a box as an artist because I'm never in a box as an artist, but vocally, I'll just stay in a pattern. And he was like, you better go there. He was like, give him something at the end. So I like floaties type stuff. So I'll be smooth all day, but he was like, no, you got to go at the end. So that's why it's got that sweetness. And at the end, so I'm giving him that feel, but that was because of him. He was, and then I pulled out Smooth Daddy on the talking record, and that's how it went down.
So
Yep.
talk to me real quick about you said Dante comes to you with the track.
Yes, sir. Yep. We were in the studio to cut something else. Literally 2 days before we came, he was like, "Hey man, take a listen to this." You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I'm like, man. He was like, I got a couple of days left to clear the sample. And I was like, well, man, just go ahead, clear it, man. We'll see what we can do with it. I said, I love it. It's beautiful. It's smooth. He was hiding it. I think he had it for a while. And he dropped it on me. And man, we got in there. We cut the other song, which was a good record. You know what I'm saying? But then that came out, and all of those melodies and harmonies, man, they were just coming to me, man. That's how I say I know it wasn't all for me. It was from the man upstairs because it was the way it came together, man. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, this is my opinion. It's nothing out there that sounds like it right now. It's truly unique to me and my sound. Yeah.
And and listen, man,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be candid with everybody that's tuning in and watching this back. But when you sent that to me,
Mm-hmm.
I was on my way from one bus to another on my commute, and
Wow.
that was a bright spot for my day.
Wow.
Like that is a day that I can vividly remember where I was, what I was feeling, what was going on. Because when I heard that,
Mm.
without any hesitation, I text you back or I messaged you
Yeah.
back on Facebook before I even
Yeah.
got through probably the first minute. I thought
Mm-hmm.
that was one of your best records.
All right. I mean,
I don't think you sounded better in my opinion, and I love your catalog. But when I heard
right.
that, man,
Mm-hmm.
I always say some people listen, other people feel it, and you were feeling it that
Oh
day.
man.
That's
Yeah.
why I had to ask. Tell me about, the inspiration behind it. I had a question about the studio session, but you shared that with us, and it makes a
Right.
lot of sense to me.
Oh
How
yeah, man. It
special
was.
is that to have your pops there with you, to be
Yeah. Yeah.
inspiration, to kind of coach and guide you? And there's nothing
Mm-hmm.
like hearing, from your folks, like keep going,
Yeah.
keep
And
going.
like he's the one who introduced me to soul music. Period. Like I always tell
Yeah.
people when I was younger, my mixtapes, man, they'd be like, man, this dude crazy, because you had Wu Tang here, you had Jodeci here, but then you got Willie Hutch, you got the Five Step Steps, you got all these different things. You know what I'm saying? And people used to look at me crazy, but now I know why all of that stuff touched me because it was a part of me and who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I love soul music, man. I love soul music. I love music, period.
I know you do,
Yep.
brother. I know you do.
Yes, sir.
You're one of the few I say that can actually sit in other genres and do it well.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no, of course. Now, talk to us about the meaning behind the song, like the party's over. When you're singing that to us, what does it mean?
Okay, okay, so conceptually, we were thinking about, you know what I'm saying? Like most of the time, you hear things from a woman's point of view when it comes to a broken heart with songs. You know what I mean? So it was a point where a man had given what he had, and he knew that it was done. So you know what I'm saying? You know how it is with men. We sometimes will endure, you know, even when we're going through crazy things. But when that finality comes, it comes, and sometimes it's the woman who's not ready. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To receive that, and that's where I went with that. You know what I mean? Like if you listen to the words, you know, every love has a season, but unfortunately, baby, ours is gone. There's no
Mm.
reason for us to carry on. You see what I'm saying? So it's like a realization that, you know, instead of enduring this, you know, maybe the season's done. The party's over.
Oof. I love the analogy, man. And what I
Mhm.
think sells it. There's something I've noticed about your catalog, which I'll get to in a second, but it's the
Yes, sir.
conviction that you speak with at the very beginning. And
Right.
when I say speak, I believe
Yeah.
there's two soul cuts where when you're
Right.
talking slick in the beginning, ooh,
Mhm.
it's a wrap. It's a wrap. You're selling it to us. You're setting the stage before we even get to really hear that first verse or we get to hear the hook. And so that's something I love. I think that that's your confidence beaming when we hear that talking in the beginning. It's like
Yep.
you're on your victory lap, you know it. And for me, I remember the beginning of the song and what you're
Mhm.
saying, and then you get into it. And what I thought I heard is exactly what you just explained to us. But
Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
man, what a complete
Go ahead. Go
song.
ahead.
You know what I want? I want that on a 7 inch.
We working on it because man, you don't know how many influential people, including yourself, who are like, man, we got to get that. We need that. You know what I mean? And me and Dante, we currently working on trying to get it together. It's just, you know what I'm saying? This stuff is so crazy. You know, when you live in life and trying to promote. And I'm the type of person, I got all kinds of irons in the fire, but something's
Yeah,
telling me with this one, man, I need to get it on some of that vinyl, man, because you know, whenever people hear it, the first thing they do is just they like you know what I'm saying? So
you know what it
whenever
is
people are
too.
just like
We didn't even touch on it, but the instrumentation, and I think part of what I love about this is there's that element
mhm,
that I refer to as the charm. And the
yeah,
charm is something that I feel like a lot of soul artists strive for when they're in the studio. But it's so hard to do with
right,
the gear. And I'm not even going to ask questions, but for those listening, when you hear this, this does not sound
mhm,
like it came out of 2026, 2025. This sounds like it came
yeah,
out of like a dusty old box. You put it on the table, and the realness is there. Y'all captured it. I
and
was
that's
low key
what man you
disappointed
be surprised.
when this was going to be a digital release, man, because I said, "Oh no, don't do the digi first." I think I even tried to convince you not to release it digitally.
You did. You did. You did. And, you know, I had a couple of different things going on with it, man. But
Yeah.
and you owe me, and everybody else owe me. That vinyl is coming. I'm
Mm.
working on that, and that's the good thing about soul music. It doesn't have the typical time frame of a lot of other genres. So I have time to work with it. I have time for people to organically accept what this is. And people don't even realize if you look at the root of soul music,
Yeah.
it comes from inside, man. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why
You
people
feel it.
don't everybody doesn't resonate with it because they don't understand the story, the history behind soul music, what it derived from. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? In cotton fields from gospel to you know, combining with jump, you know what I'm saying, jazz and the story of it. So anytime something has history, it takes time to digest. You see what I'm saying? And that's what when I record music, man, that's what I try to do. I don't care whatever genre I'm in or whatever music I cut. I try to give people a piece of me because I believe that's what lasts longer, man. You understand what I'm saying? And it's taking people. One thing I will say this. I'm gonna let you talk, man. I don't want to take over this, but one thing I'm noticing is that sometimes it may take people a little longer to digest my music, and it used to have me like in this thing, like man, I've been around so many influential people. I've been aligned with so many great people, and I'm like, man, I feel like I should be further, but I had to realize what I'm doing is something different. So I have to allow people time to digest it. You know what I mean? And be
These are
patient.
gems. These are gems right here because I think you're right. That's a hard
Mm-hmm.
thing to wrap your arms around and then be good with it and still keep going with that beaming confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I want to jump to
Yep.
the next question. You've been
Yep.
building this catalog over the past handful of years. I think about Norma Jean, the Remedy Ice Cream Man, and
Yeah.
now Party's
Yeah.
Over.
Yes, sir.
How would you describe your evolution from those records to where you're at today? Because I feel like we're getting a different version of you today than we did with Norma Jean, even that first release
Uh-huh.
on Industry Music Group. So what can you tell us about that?
I think, man, I, um, I'm gonna go a little personal here, and I feel like you know what I'm saying this is all a part of the journey. Just me healing as a person and discovering myself and being comfortable enough to be me and not have to fit into anybody else's criteria. You see what I'm saying? Once I began to free myself spiritually, mentally, and start realizing what it is that God put inside me, I realized that I had a responsibility and a calling. So it's not a calling to be someone else, it's a calling to be Napoleon Demps. I was created with this DNA, with this story, to be able to give it to people as is. And I believe what's going on now is it's shining through my music. My healing is shining through my music. You know what I'm saying? My faith is shining through my music. You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe the world is destined to hear what I have to say, not necessarily so I become a millionaire, but I believe I'm here to heal, you know, day by day. And music is just one aspect of it, but I'm a healed man. So you hear that in my music.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think we can hear it. I think we can feel it. I can see it right now. And,
Yup.
I'm not going to deep dive all the way back, but,
Yeah.
to get to a label like Daptone, that is a North Star for people. And your path there,
Yes.
it was timing, it was patience. It wasn't the typical route that I think a lot of artists have to go through to get there. And so
Right.
I think
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying is you've definitely been through it, you've grown from it. And
Mm-hmm.
I always say when we work on ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and we see that it's working, it's almost like we've got kryptonite. You know what I mean? There's nothing, no
Yeah.
ceilings, no ceilings.
Definitely not, man. Definitely
Yeah.
not. And I urge any artist that's watching this, man, be organic. You know what I'm saying? Be yourself because the music industry will have you fooled thinking that you have to fit in some criteria, but everybody who lasts in this game are people who are not afraid, or should I say unafraid, of being who they are. You know what I
Mm,
mean? That's a gem for life. That's a
I
gem
love
for
that.
life. And yes, sir.
That's a true story. Now, this is for the
Mhm.
collectors and the culture. We were
Yes,
just
sir.
talking about Daptone, but you've got an upcoming release reuniting with
Hmm.
Daptone Records. What can
Yes,
you
sir.
tell us about the release? What's the vibe, the message? Um,
Oh
you know,
man,
what should soul
it,
lovers be looking forward to with this?
it is a very deep, introspective record, man. We did it a couple of years ago. Me and Gabe. We both wrote it. We co-wrote it. And it's
Okay.
called it's called It's So Hard. Okay, and this record is basically about the struggles in my city. If anybody knows about my city, Flint, Michigan, the first thing they think about is, you know what I'm saying, the dirty water crisis or whatever. But we had the highest murder rate for about 10 years per capita in the country. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It was a lot of poverty, a lot of decline. So as I was coming up, you know what I'm saying, it was kind of like we still had the skeleton of like the automobile industry, the shops and people had a lot of prosperity and money, but then it started declining. And, it's a lot of crime here, a lot of depression, a lot of people stumble into bad things. So we wrote basically a song about a couple of stories, you know what I'm saying? And one of them was just things that I saw growing up. And then the second verse is about an actual story that happened with a young lady from South Lyon, Michigan, which is like down by Detroit. I'm north. And it talked about that, and we combined these stories to let people know it's so hard. But toward the end of the record, we're encouraging people to come together to lift your brother up. You know what I'm saying? It's a real deep record, man. We got some cats. Gabe has some session cats out there in LA. I'm not sure what this band is because when I'm in Michigan, I come out and I cut my leads, and then he'll have different background vocalists and different people fill in. And these gentlemen are backing me up. One of them who is Ron Pryor. So I know you know who Ron Pryor is.
Oh, I know who this is. This is like I'm just for a lack of better term, this is like the Penrose band. The Penrose band that Gabe
Yeah,
Gabe
yeah,
Roland is probably there.
yeah,
Pryor's on
probably.
keys,
I think
right?
Gabe, yeah, and he
Yeah,
was hitting some
okay.
vocals.
Yo,
So, so
that's a nasty
the
band.
the feel when you hear it, it's like as soon as it comes on, it's kind of gospely. So it's coming on, it's dropping, and I'm ooh, ooh, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I'm giving it to him, and it's deep, man. It's a deep record. It's a deep
Mm.
record. It's called "It's So Hard," man, and the label is excited about it. I'm excited about it, and it allows people to show yet another side of what it is I do and what I've been through.
What's on the flip side?
It's an extended version because we got some. I'm gonna kind of keep it hush, but we got some other things in the works that's coming. That's gonna drop. So we got the A and the B. What I'm saying, it's an extended version on the flip side, man. But we are coming to make a mark. And one of my things that I really want to do in putting this record out is a lot of times in soul music today, you got a lot of people doing remakes and stuff, which is cool. I've done a couple of them myself, but people aren't really doing a lot of social commentary. It's a lot of love, it's a lot of partying. But the type of person I am, I have a story to tell. So that's
Mhm.
exactly what this song is. It's a story, and it's deep, man. Deep record. When you hear it, you'll be like, I understand what you were saying. You
I
know.
can't wait. Who produced it?
Gabe, Gabe and crew. He
Was
has
Messino
some. You said was who on there?
was Anthony Messino in the part of this?
Was Anthony playing on that? I am not sure. I'm not sure. Because when we were out, like I said, we cut it a couple of years back. You know what I'm saying? It was like when I was first starting to cut with him and stuff. I know he had a
Okay.
couple of session musicians in there, man. But it's the record. The record is very, like I say, it's to me. This is just me in my opinion. It's kind of haunting. So it touches you. You know what I'm saying? So I can give you like a little, like just a little bit of it. It's like. There was a young man walking home from school, just trying to do right and follow the golden rule. Dope dealer on the corner, slinging that thing. He say, hey, little man, what's the name? I need to put you on this thing they call game. That's just a little bit of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's raw, man. It's raw.
Let me ask this. What prompted y'all to decide now's the time to put this out?
Um, well, I was talking to Gabe, you know what I'm saying, and we had some conversations because for the past few years, I've been dealing with I've been dealing with IMG, and I was doing more of like a soldies type thing, and once me and Gabe had the conversation, man, we was like, man, we got these records and Dynamite, we believe in them, and we just feel it's time for you to, you know what I'm saying, show this side, you know what I mean, and he called me up. The boy was ready to go. And we decided to go ahead and go with it, man. And I really feel fortunate, man, because just like he was talking about earlier in the interview, man, people don't just stumble upon opportunities with Daptone. Daptone is very calculated in everything they do. And when I say that, I don't mean it in a negative way. It's
Yeah.
just they are purists. They're so purist, and they believe in what they put out. That's what may take it, a while sometimes. It's because when Daptone puts it out, it represents a brand and it represents an experience. So that's why, by him calling me and letting me know, I know it was something that they were proud of and I'm proud of, man. And man, we just gonna keep this soul legacy going. I promise you, man. One of my goals in life is to impact this world. And one of the ways I'm gonna do it, one of them, is through music, man. My faith and giving people reality and truth. And that's exactly what this song is. It's a whole lot of reality, a whole lot of truth, but it's also a whole lot of inspiration and letting people know that there is hope, even when you feel like there is none. You got me?
Yeah, no, that's real. I'm
Yes,
such a
sir.
fan of indie soul and just kind of my knowledge of the
Mm-hmm.
labels, the different
Mm-hmm.
styles that come out, even when it comes to production. And
Mm-hmm.
countless times over the years through interviews, I've heard
Mm-hmm.
about what it's like to be in the studio with Gabe. And I know this was recorded a while back, but when y'all got together again, what's
Mm-hmm.
something that you took away from your conversations with Gabe as you guys kind of reunite to release music again? And the reason I'm asking you this is because
Mm-hmm.
Gabe continues to progress and grow and evolve and
Mm-hmm.
push the music forward, probably
Yes.
like no other label could do because of that sound that you're talking about. But what's something
Right.
that you took away with this project, this release, when Gabe calls you? What did you take away from that? What's something that'll stay with you that was powerful?
Um, Simply his belief. You know what I'm saying? When you deal with people of a certain creed,
Yeah,
um, they're how can I put this? Their affirmations are almost like confirmation.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
because what he does is uh Gabe he does things on his time. You see what I'm
yeah,
saying? Because
yeah,
he's worked hard enough to do it. And if he makes a decision and decides to use his time, which is very valuable, on me, I take that as a compliment. You know what I'm saying? The biggest compliment. And what I took from him is to continue to be myself. Don't be afraid to explore, because one thing Gabe will do in the studio is you're gonna cut a whole lot of takes. You're better. Make sure you got your vocal Olympics ready. You know what I'm saying? Be ready to go in there. You're gonna cut a lot of takes, but he's also going to give you feedback, constructive criticism. Um, he'll question you. He's a great questioner. Like, so is this all this as far as we can go with this? You know, you think maybe you can go this way, this direction, and all of that comes from his experiences, man. Anytime someone's recording Sharon Jones, anytime Jay Z has sampled your music, anytime you play at the White House, you've been all over the world. You understand what I'm saying? It's a wealth of knowledge that comes with that, man. So I guess to answer your question, um, uh, he leads by example, and he's always himself, and he inspires me to be myself.
yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's the difference, would you say, between an IMG record and a Daptone record?
It's it's both of them. First of all, let me say this: both of them are great records, just a different experience. So, speaking of IMG, I got to give shouts out to my boy DJ Cazell, man, because DJ Cazell, he stepped up and he believed in me. You know what I'm saying? And he helped introduce me to a whole nother sound, the soul sound.
Yep.
And the best thing I can say is it's different ends of the spectrum. So when you're talking about soul music, it's from that culture. You know what I'm saying? Low rider culture. You know what I'm saying? The feel is chill. It's how can I put it? It's more relaxed, but like the Daptone sound is more earthy. You know what I'm saying? Gritty. Like I was watching your interview with Cruz, how you were saying it was different. It's different styles of soul. Soul comes in different elements, different
Yeah.
flavors. So I just think it's different ends of the spectrum. I think the IMG stuff is more smooth. Put it on a nice day. You chill, you relax. Um, I think the dap tone stuff is a little bit more earthy and gritty. You know what I mean?
It's an
And
incredible way to explain it. I mean, I don't think you could have said it any better. And I think
yeah.
for people that are in the community
Hmm.
that have awareness to both labels, know the
Hmm.
catalogs,
Hmm.
you're spot on with it. And I think
Because I lived
everybody's
it.
wanted to know, how would you
Yeah.
define soldies, right? Now we kind of understand that from not
Hmm.
just anybody, but somebody that's actually been on the label, been in
Hmm.
the studio with Ruben,
Hmm. Oh
Tony
yeah.
G, sang
Tony G.
alongside Mariah on a cut. And so
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
super cool to hear. And it does make a lot of sense. And I like how you said kind of earthy, gritty with Daptone, because
Hmm.
that's something that I think they've always kept as an aesthetic in their
Right.
music. The one thing I
Hmm.
like about Daptone is that no matter how big they get, the cuts
Hmm.
stay grounded. And it's not like, I don't ever think anything's like radio friendly. You know what I'm saying? Like you can
Right.
make a song that's for the radio, for placement in a
Hmm.
commercial, but they keep it
Right.
true. And that's that grittiness, that's that earthiness that I love, man.
And
Um,
it's funny what you said that you use the word grounded in one sense, but I'm thinking of grounded in another sense because Gabe is grounded as a person. Neil is grounded as a person, so it reflects in their music. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
When they go in there and cut, it's a plan. You know what I'm saying? And even though it's like natural and organic, the plan is based upon them giving people real music, like real life experiences, reality. It's reality music. That's what I can say. You know what I'm saying? That song ain't selling no fantasies. You know what I mean? They're giving it to you raw. You know what I mean? And that's why it resonates with different people of different generations, different cultures, and everything. Because you can't argue with the truth, man. That tone is the truth.
Mm. Now, tell us when this is releasing. What do we need to know about the physical product? Can we
Okay.
stream it? Give us the 411.
Yes, sir. You can stream it starting Friday, March 25th, and it also it's available for all on all the the major outlets. Several of them. I know Barnes and Noble. You can order the 45. It will be available, man. March 20. What is that? This the 27th is Friday. So this Friday, that's when it comes out. This Friday. It's so hard. Napoleon Demps. You got Tone Records, baby.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, the 27th. We could probably shop it on Daptone. I'm sure they're probably
That's
are they going to
all.
do color variants? Do you know
You
about
know what?
that?
I don't know if they're gonna do it. I don't know if they're gonna do it with this one. It might be all just black. I don't know. I can holler at him and see what's going on. See, I can talk to Gabe or Lydia and see what their plans on it. But they're very excited about it. I'm excited about it because I believe this record is uniquely me. You know what I mean? And I think it's gonna make people think. And I'm not trying to, puff myself up or whatever. But the story, man, it's like a mini movie, man, and you will see once you hear it. Hmm.
That's more of what I want because I think back to the records that I love so much from the 60s, the 70s, and the ones that always
Hmm.
moved me the most were the storytellers. You
Oh
know,
man, this is a
I
story
think
here.
like the
Yes,
rawness,
it is.
understanding the you call it the pain, the feelings that come from it. And that is what allows
Yeah.
us to, connect to the music deeper. And even when I think about like some of the well-known soul collectors and they reflect
Hmm.
back to memories of listening to the music with their families or the records that move them the
Hmm.
most, it's the words that are being sang that is why they like it.
Definitely.
And you're not the first
Definitely,
person
man.
that's called it like a movie. So I love that
Yeah.
commentary that
Yeah.
really kind of supports and strengthens it. Yeah, man.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Now, any
Yep.
live performances, live shows, anything like that coming up?
I'm in Detroit May 16th. Um, Me and Gabe actually, we got some meetings next week, kind of discussing, you know what I'm saying, me possibly working on some different things. So I'm trying to get back out that way. like I said, that's been another thorn in my side. Like not so much with the Southern Soul side, because I used to work the South all the time, in that genre. But the soul genre, I'm still trying to get people to see my live show, you know, which is pretty intense too. You know what I'm saying? So like I always
I
tell
think it'd
people,
be
I'm a big
amazing to
fella, but
see you live.
I got light feet. Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I always tell people, man, I'm a big fella, but I got light feet. Every now and then I slide there, or I'll put that mic right there and I'll scream for you, I'll fall for you, and then we'll go smooth with some of that high notes that Eddie Kendrick feels. So I love music, and I'm convinced that I'm not supposed to stay in a box, so I refuse to. Yep.
Love that. So let's zoom
So we're
out
working
on
on
the
it.
scene a little bit. From your
Okay.
perspective, where is independent soul
Mhm.
music right now, and what do we need to do to keep pushing it forward?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you one thing. It is thriving. Okay, it is thriving, and mainstream culture is kind of leeching off of it a little bit. If you notice, you're starting to hear it in these commercials. You're starting to see people doing these independent films, and you're hearing like new type soul records. So everybody's in love with soul now. You look at Jack Harlow just put out that neo soul record that everybody is just spazzing over. You know what I mean? Which is new to the mainstream, but not new to us. But
Right.
it's a perfect time for soul musicians to thrive. But when they're recording it, they got to realize that in order for it to really go, it's got to be organic for people to feel it. And I think one mistake people are making in indie soul right now is they're shooting for these mainstream expectations, but if it happens to go there, cool. But I think where soul really makes its impact is at the grassroots level, and then things are, like a step. It's slowly coming up, so the right people who get it, experience it. I think it's in the mainstream now that it's more than it's been in years.
I
So
would agree with you.
I think it's in a good place, but we want to make sure that we don't take advantage. How can I put it? We want to take advantage of our opportunities with it, but we don't want to slander what it is, what true soul is. You get what I'm saying? Because when you get to bringing those other things in, it's evolution. But if you're talking about soul, soul is soul. If you're talking about neo soul. Southern soul, southern soul. These are different versions, but when you're talking about the essence of it, it has a certain feel, and certain elements. So I think it's in a good place, though, man. I think it's in a good place, Wax. Yeah, we gonna keep going with it. Mhm.
I love that. Who are some of the artists on the scene right now that are catching your eye?
Man, it's a lot of people, man. It's so man. That's a good question. Um, I love Chris Luhan's energy as a performer. Um, Mariah Avila, she has a very beautiful, pristine voice. Tasha Lee, the stuff she was cutting, I believe, was a good mix of like modern R&B and classic soul. The Illusions. Man, it's so many people out there, man, that I'm really, really feeling, man. The Womack sisters, that field. I love what Jaden and Gonda's doing. He's another guy that not just saying that because he's a Daptone artist, but he's another guy who's free in his skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gives
Yeah.
people who he is. You know what I'm saying? His look, his style, his sound. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of people, man, that I'm really listening to these days, man, and vibing on, man. What's the little lady from oh yeah, Nira, what Kadena. It's so many singers out there, man, that people need to hear more of. Hmm.
What I love about your response was, you kind of talked about some of the newer folks on the scene, but you also
Hmm.
mentioned those that have been here and continue to really push things forward, stay true to the roots themselves. Um,
Right.
I'm really pleased to see where it's gone over the last 5 years, the game. And I
Oh,
think
for sure, man.
the newer acts on the scene for sure, they're definitely supporting and strengthening what's already in
Oh
play.
yeah, for sure. for sure.
but I still want to see it. I want to make sure that it stays intact. And I think about those first Sacred Soul records, Duran Jones and the
Yeah,
Indications, maintaining
yeah.
true because the audience it came from here first, and that original
Oh, for
sound
sure. Hmm.
is something that it gives you that feeling, right? And
Oh,
for
for
many
sure.
reasons. So,
For
um,
sure. Man, yeah, man. Because like it's so funny. Like I said, I listen to mainstream R&B and stuff too. Raheem Devon recut "Can I Call You Rose?" and
mm,
and it's oh boy, it's a monster to me. You know what I'm saying? But it lets you know that the mainstream is listening to this stuff, man.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them are trying to take elements of it, and trying to put it in these new records, and it's creating new, fresh, authentic music, man. So I think all of us, man, as just artists, period, soul, hip hop, country, whatever it is, we can't be afraid to experiment, but we also have to remember the elements that make us us. You see what I'm saying? And we like plant seeds, but we keep watering and we grow and grow and grow. Eventually, if you plant enough seeds, you got a forest. You see what I'm saying? And you got every type of tree there, man. You get what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. No, I do. I'll tell
So
you what's really interesting too is, I still listen to hip hop,
mhm.
more so like the underground stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm amazed at how many of these rare soul, lost and forgotten tracks I'm now hearing
Yeah.
as samples.
Yeah, yeah. They be
And
clay digging,
so,
man.
yeah, I mean, so it's coming forward across different fronts.
Hmm.
And I love when I hear someone take one of those samples and put it on their
Hmm.
record. And obviously they got to do justice when they're rapping, but what's cool about it, that next generation is going to learn about that soul artist because they heard it on a West Side Gun record, just as
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
we
Hmm.
were either reminded or we found out about soul through hip hop in the 90s where the drums
Yeah,
came
yeah.
from or these vocal samples. So yeah, man, it's in a great place.
Man,
Let's go ahead and
man,
move on to the lightning round. Go ahead. What happened?
it's so funny. I'm gonna share one quick story with you, and then I'll move on. So, it's funny you were talking about that. So the legendary Roy C. Roy C. and the Honey Drippers. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you're familiar with Roy C. He was a classic soul singer. In the '60s and '70s, and that basic hip hop break beat that boom, boom, boom. His man created that in New York. It was a man he discovered. He came up from South Carolina, and I'm having this conversation with him about the history of hip hop. But this guy is like a soul connoisseur, and he was literally telling me about when they came up with that break beat that is like the quintessential hip hop break beat. They didn't know they were coming up with it, but that's what I say. You never know when you the first to create something that's going to span generations and lifetimes. You see what I'm saying? So always be a student of this game, but always be open minded because there's always something to learn. I know that from being an educator. I'm an educator. That's what I
Yeah.
do 9 to 5. I'm a dean of students. So I see kids every day, man, and they're like, Mr. Demps, we heard your music. Do you know how many kids were liking and sharing Stranger at my door? So I walk into school one day, this is 15-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? They don't know no money, but they're like, Mr. Demps, man. But they have no responsibility, man. It's not that it's dead. People have to know where it is. But that's another story, man. But let's move, Wax.
All right, brother.